Cool, man.
Yeah. So how's it been?
This is it. It's been well. It's been.
Yeah. Been going well.
Yeah, G. So talk to me, man. Obviously, you spoke about the clothing thing. I've intentionally not asked you at all today about the clothing thing.
Okay. Keep me off topic.
Yeah, to keep you off topic because I don't want to ruin the entire conversation.
That's cool. Save it. Yeah, so the name is called Scene.
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 S-E-E-N.
S-C-S-E-E-N-E. As in
S-E-E-N-E. Scene, like safe.
Scene, as in movie scene.
Oh, S-C-E...
E-N-E.
Movie scene. All right, man.
Yeah,
Cool. Bro, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
All right, ignore me. Yeah.
It's hard
scene.
to say.
It's called Scene.
C-E-N-E.
Yeah.
Scene.
Scene.
Yeah. I like it because it's like, it sounds serious, but people say it, like, especially from like in the UK or like Jamaican background, you say scene as in I understand.
Yeah.
So you say scene.
Calm, man.
Yeah, I like it.
So how did you come up with that?
Massively because I'm into music. So when people relate to a music scene, and also there's so many reasons. Like the way I think is, I come to a conclusion or I come to a result over multiple things that connect. I connect the dots basically, and once it all makes sense logically in my head, it becomes a thing to me. You know?
Okay.
So like, massive into music, the music scene, UK music scene.
Yeah.
So yeah, I decided to run with that simply because of that reason. It seemed to make sense.
Cool, man. So obviously, when I spoke to you the other day
The barbers.
in the barbers, you said that. What was it? You said that you wanted to start a clothing line,
Yeah,
but before that, you said you wanted to get back into graphic design.
that's right. Yeah.
So obviously, those two intertwine.
Yeah, hand in hand. Yeah.
But did you want to get back into design because you want to start a clothing line, or did you want to start a clothing line because you want to get back in design, or are they two completely separate entities?
What the way I see it is, I've always wanted to be involved in design, no matter what it was, whether it's painting, drawing, pastel, like water paint, whatever it was. I wanted to be back doing art and design. I find that art and design are very different, but I feel like design is more for a purpose, whereas art can be simply for the expression.
Just expression, yeah.
And I'm hoping to combine the two, which I feel like most artists and designers do, is they combine the two as in expressing something for a purpose.
Bro,
Are you good?
bro, you know what? That's actually sounded sick. Like I just use the term art and design in it because it's just a term,
Okay.
just like drum and bass.
Yeah. R&B.
R&B, rhythm and blues, but you
Hand
just
in
think
hand.
R&B is one thing in it. You don't think, okay, I'm looking for the rhythm, or like when someone says R&B,
marriage, yeah.
yeah, when someone says R&B, you don't think them as two separate things. I've never heard anyone say to me like, no, the rhythm is this and the blues is this.
Don't break it down like that.
And like, no one says like, I'm trying to create rhythm and blues because I like the rhythm and I like the blues and I want to marry them together. It's just, that's just R&B.
It's a
So
progression.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
That's calm, bro. I'm learning.
All right.
Sorry, I sound like a dickhead.
That's cool. It's cool.
So art and design, you're trying to marry the two.
Yeah, and the whole clothing thing is like, especially with design, I feel like advertisement boards can be very mundane. They can be like, I'm trying to sell something, buy this, buy into that.
Rags.
Whereas I feel like wearing a garment, it's more of, it's not advertising in itself. I feel like it's more of an expression rather than trying to sell something. Like the reason why, the kind of ethos behind my design, and I have like a code of ethics, I call it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like when you look at fashion labels like let's say Prada or Gucci, you're seeing them symbols and you're thinking, that's a lot of money. You think of value. You put value to that symbol.
Yeah.
And I don't like that idea. I like the idea of it having more meaning, like we were saying, like more content.
Yeah.
Like, as in it has a message and it has more of a conversation underlying that statement.
Okay, calm.
Yeah.
So like, you said it's called scene. Is it going to say scene on the thing, or is it? You said it's going to be like a sentence or a phrase or an icebreaker or whatever. Like what's in? Like what? Like explain.
So
I don't get.
basically, scene, that's the platform. That's the name of it. But the ethos. I'll go back to that. Is I want to have like not a set strap line, but an icebreaker.
Yeah.
Which causes conversation.
Yeah.
Like when you walk into a club or you walk into any kind of social environment, it could be going out for a meal, and to see a saying or an expression used, like you could think of any, especially in the UK. There's so many expressions that are used.
Oh, bruv.
Rule of thumb.
Yeah.
There's just so many. There's hundreds that we just use on like there's.
Bro, you know what?
On a daily basis.
I was watching a YouTube thing the other day. Have you ever seen Hot Ones on YouTube?
Yeah.
Did you see the Idris Elba one?
I think I have seen it,
Yeah. Come out like the other week. There's a bit in there, obviously, because he's English in America. Mm-hmm. The geezer was asking him, like, what does he...
Idris Elba does that a lot.
Yeah. Like, he's asking him, like, he's asking Idris, like, what does this mean? Mm-hmm. And then he's like, obviously, he asked typical fucking bake shit, like, what's crepes mean? Yeah. But he said, like, what did he say? He said, like, what does Bob's your uncle mean? Mm-hmm. And I was thinking... What do you mean? What does Bob's your uncle? It's just a thing, isn't it? Like, you know what it is. Yeah. Why are you asking what does Bob's your uncle mean? But he doesn't know what it means.
Yeah.
And like in this country especially, there's so many little things that you take for granted that you just say, and you're like, like rule of thumb. Yeah. What does that mean? I actually don't know what that means. And if someone
it's a rough estimate.
Yeah, I know what. I know how to use it. Yeah. But if someone put me on the spot and was like, explain rule of thumb because I don't get it.
But even you just saying like Bob's your uncle. What does that mean?
It doesn't mean shit.
I can say it.
Yeah.
But what does it mean?
I know how to receive it, but I can't break it down.
I think, does it mean like...
Bob's your uncle
who
means...
knows?
Yeah, no, Bob's your uncle means like you're certified. Like if I said like, you want to get... Like if you want to get big, go gym... Eat good, sleep good.
There's
Bob's your uncle. You there?
Yeah.
So like that's the end game. Bob's your uncle is bish bash bosh. Bob's your uncle.
And the thing is, with these expressions, like I understand them when they're said, but to explain them to somebody else, like the reason why I'm using these, like, we call them icebreakers, I
guess,
conversation starters.
Is that it? Depends. It depends if that's what you want them to do.
So when I first come up with the concept, I know them as idioms. Or idioms.
I don't know what that word means.
It's literally just an expression that not everybody uses. It has like only people in certain environments, like say people from the UK would know, or people from America would know theirs. You know, and I've decided to roll with that because I feel like they create interest. And to see a phrase and you think, I know that, it has a certain like nostalgic value to it. So that's why I like the idea of using expressions on T-shirts. So that's why I'm kind of rolling with that, as well as my graphic background of having a symbol. Yeah, so I have a symbol that I've made, which is my idea of a product of creativity, which, as you've probably heard before, is 1 + 1 = 3.
Nope.
You never heard that?
I've heard people say 1 + 1 = 3, but I've never heard that as a format of creativity. Yeah, so it's
using the two parts of a sum to make more than what it is.
Gang, that sounds dope. I've never even heard that before.
Yeah. So obviously 1 + 1 in mathematics logically equals 2, but making it 3, 1 + 1 = 3 is a product of creativity, making that extra value to it, making something more than what it is. Like we'll say like Damien Hirst, he would spend millions of pounds on diamonds and crest them onto a skull. The actual value of that skull is a certain amount, but it will go for auction so much more because he's created it. That's his product of creativity.
Yeah.
So I've used that idea that 1 + 1 = 3, use that logically, turn it on its side, and created a bridge. And to me, a bridge is the gap between two places, and that's where my symbols come from.
Fair play, brother. I want to see it.
Yeah, it's a simple. I like minimalistic. I like minimal.
I'm all about minimalistic.
You know, when something's overcomplicated, that way I explained it sounds overcomplicated because I've minimalized it so much. It just looks like a simple symbol. I feel. Explains.
It captures what you're trying to put across.
Expresses what I need.
To
say. Yeah.
Bro, that's sick.
Yeah, and also I've added this part of the symbol is a degree symbol, which have you heard the expression nth degree?
Nth degree, I've heard it. I don't know what it means.
Okay, so it means to a certain level.
Yeah.
Like an X level.
Yeah.
It's just a value like in algebra, it's just a level. I mean, I've always liked maths.
Yeah.
So that's why I always refer to logical and maths and that kind of thing. So using the degree symbol to me is just a level. That's what it pretty much says. So bridge to a certain level.
Bro, you think about these things a lot, boy.
Deep.
Bro, to be fair, when you said I want to start a clothing line, I was thinking, all right, man, that's cool. Yeah. Not everyone wants to start a clothing line, but obviously that's cool. But you've clearly put a lot of fucking thought into it, so that's good, man. Jesus Christ.
Literally, because obviously, after years of design, working in the industries, doing app development, shoe design, like just different industries, I've had a lot of time to think. And for me to put something out, I feel like when you bring yourself or show yourself on a certain platform, you're vulnerable.
Bro, it's scary. Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what, yeah. Today, this is how scary things are. This is pathetic. Yeah. I'm embarrassed to say it, but fuck it. Today, so
Don't
obviously...
embarrassed, man.
True, I'm not embarrassed. What was it? So my Instagram, never use it. I use it for stories and shit, but I don't ever actually use the Instagram. I don't post shit. I haven't posted shit for years.
You're dormant.
I'm dormant because
I've been dormant.
I created my Instagram. I gave my Instagram when I first made it. When Instagram first dropped, obviously I was all about fitness. I was all about bodybuilding and all that shit. So my entire Instagram is all about fitness shit, and that was represented in my name. And I obviously still care about fitness, but it's not who I am. It's not my identity anymore. Yeah. And Instagram is a representation of your identity in some aspects, if you want it to be, which I would like it to be. And I appreciate when people do that. So I needed to get the fitness out of my name for starters.
Right.
And literally...
It represents you at the end of the day, doesn't it?
It represents you. Your Instagram represents you. And there's no two ways about it. People can bullshit around it and say that it doesn't, but it obviously does.
Yeah.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Because it's a place where people who don't know you can judge you.
Yeah.
So it needs to be an adequate representation of you. Because you look at people on Instagram, you look at them and you're like, he's a prick. Like you can do 2 scrolls and you're like, he's a prick.
Yeah.
And that's a representation of you because you upload prickish shit. So if you upload prickish shit, you're representing the prick side of yourself.
Yeah.
So Instagram's a representation of you. Mine was had fitness in the name. I didn't want that to be the representation of me anymore. But it took me, this has been in my head for weeks.
Right.
And it took me until today where I was literally just like, change.
And
then just like change the name. And I was just like, bruv, like it shouldn't be that deep.
Yeah.
But it is.
New chapter.
And it's vulnerable. It's allowing people to say like, oh, James has scratched the fitness. Like James changed his name on Instagram. He's trying to portray a new side of himself. Vulnerability. Where it's very easy to say close. I could just left the Instagram and carry on doing what I'm doing. And it's just, is very vulnerable. So yeah, like you said, doing a purely creative expression of yourself.
Yeah, leaves you vulnerable.
Extremely vulnerable. Extremely vulnerable.
Yeah,
and it's a bold move, man.
And I feel like with an online presence, you put a lot of pressure on yourself because I feel like in today's society, when a lot of things are online, it's the only kind of thing people can reference you to, what you're doing in your life at the minute. Because nowadays, everyone's, well, at our age, moved on and that, like, you get to a point where you don't really see everyone every day. Yeah. It's not like you're in school. You don't see each other every day. People, your friendship circle, you don't see all the time. So the only way they can reference back to you is by seeing you online and what you're doing online.
Bro, I saw a couple people we went to school with online the other day. I hadn't even seen them since we left. And then I saw they just randomly start popping up on my suggested. And I'm like, cool. And then you take a peep into the life and you're like, oh, this person's into this now. Waste man. This person's into this man. Interesting. This girl's all right now. She wasn't all right before. She's all right now.
She's up level.
Yeah. And you're like, swear down. And it's, bro, that's all you know about them is their Instagram. Someone that you used to spend every single day with. Yeah. And obviously when we went to school, there's barely Facebook. There was MySpace.
Yeah.
MSN.
MSN was before MySpace, wasn't it?
MSN was before MySpace, but that wasn't like a representation of yourself. That's just moving
it's
to
just
things.
A profile picture.
Yeah, so a profile picture. Yeah. Chat to people that I've just spent all day with.
Send a little emoji.
Yeah. Send a quiet emoji. Try and get some breasts on camera.
That was you.
That was me.
Yeah.
Never worked. And calm. And then MySpace.
Remember webcam?
Bro, webcam when it was just like, you'd move like that and it'd be like...
Robotic. Yeah.
Hey, webcam was embarrassing. Oh, my days.
Webcam was elite though.
Yeah, webcam was the shit. But bro, like... That's actually mad. So yeah, you had all these like outlets with people that you didn't even know, and then beginning days, people weren't out here just flexing their true personalities. They'd be taking pictures of bogus shit, and even then, it was like a massive vulnerability. I remember, this is jokes. I remember when I've always been obsessed with like creative outlets and stuff.
Right.
Even though you wouldn't knowing me, you wouldn't know.
Right.
But like, well, not knowing me, you wouldn't know, for example.
Okay.
But only a few people know. But I've been obsessed with it. But like, when MySpace first dropped, or when we was on MySpace back in the day, I went through this phase where I was doing like little sketches and skits and shit.
Right.
I ended up uploading loads of them, stripped them all back, because I thought, you man are gonna cuss me. These men are definitely gonna cuss me.
What were they of though?
Random shit. Like I had I think I had one.
It's your confession box, isn't it?
Yeah,
This is your confession thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I had one where I was boxing with my dog. Just when we were boxing, like a lot.
Yeah.
And I had one which was just like a hilarious boxing episode with my dog. But the shit thing is that I didn't have no video editing software, so I had to like do 2-second clips and stuff like that, and like, and I don't even know if at the time it did video.
That's quite forward for MySpace days. That's quite forward.
But I was gonna say, I don't even know if it did video at that time. I think it was just pictures. So I had to like snap mad pics or create like a whole album of something like that, and like have little captions
almost
that
like
would
an animation type thing.
Yeah, like a little animation thing, and every caption would understand where it's going. I was trying to make like funny captions, and it was just like, this guy's a twat. But it was, to me, I would look at it, read it, and find it unbearably funny.
Right.
And I thought it was one of them things where I find it funny. Couple of you man might find it funny, but even if you did, you wouldn't tell me that was funny. You just take it down. You're like a fucking idiot.
No, I feel like with you, like your sense of humor is you get the commercial jokes. You'll get, do you know what I mean? What's it called? Who you used to watch all the time? Rick James, bitch.
Yeah.
That
Dave
kind
Chappelle,
of stuff. You get that stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. But then there's also a sense of your humor that only a niche amount of people will find funny.
Bruh, I find awkwardness funny, for one. I find timing hilarious. Like, timing for me...
I think that's a British thing, though.
It is a British thing. Because, you know, like, perfect examples, like, the Office, the British Office, the old thing.
Yeah.
I find that unbearably funny.
Yeah,
so many people find the American one funnier. I find the English one funnier.
Yeah.
Because the timing, like, that the other day, I was at work.
Phone shop. That's another funny one.
Phone shop. Yeah. And, like, what was I doing? My boss... I can't remember. We had a new girl start or something. She was talking to a client on the phone, and she'd never spoken to someone without any coaching or anything like that. So it's her first time going live with a client. They're open to questions, anything, like she's nervous and shit. So she was on there. I'm sat here, she's sat there, my boss is sat behind in a different like cubicle, whatever, a quadrant, whatever you want to fucking call it. So she finishes her call, and my boss says over like, "Oh, nice. Well, like nice. That was good." Yeah. And then the girl was like, "Oh, what was that?" And like immediately she was like, "Oh, nothing. I just checked myself out in the mirror." But like the sentence that she said is not that funny. Yeah. But the speed in which she was able to like regurgitate that was hella witty, and I was crying. Yeah. Bro, something about timing just destroys me.
That's it though. It's like I find it's a well-known thing that in like comedy, timing is everything.
It's literally everything.
Literally, it's the amount of pause. Yeah, man. Timing is everything in comedy.
It literally is. And I find that, obviously I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and a lot of ones I actually listen to are run by comedians. And their natural time, you can tell why they got into comedy, because a lot of them, their natural timing is what makes them funny. So when I actually think, oh, they're funny, let me actually watch their like stand-ups and shit on Netflix. I watch it, I'm thinking, I don't actually find that funny, because that's rehearsed. They've rehearsed that. So their timing isn't genuine. It's rehearsed. Yeah. And then like I'm like, that's not funny.
Yeah. I would agree with that, but I say even with a script like Scrubs is funny. It's funny.
Oh, don't get me wrong. You can rehearse timing. Don't get me wrong. Some of them I find unbearable. Dave Chappelle did a new one the other day. His stand-up unbearably funny, and that's rehearsed. But I find rehearsed shit funny too. But you have to nail it. Yeah. Like you have to nail it. If I feel like you're nervous and you're half a millisecond off, I'm like, you missed it.
You have to have the confidence.
Yeah, you have to just bang.
And there's some comedians I find is sometimes how relaxed they are.
100%.
How mundane they are sometimes, how relaxed they are with what they say. It's like, that's pretty funny.
Dude, especially if it's genuine relaxation as well. I watched another guy the other day. I can't even remember what his name is, but you could tell his character was that very much like low,
I think is
depressed.
he a black guy?
Nah, he's actually a white guy.
Okay.
But he was very much like depressive and down and stuff like that. But that's his character, but you can tell that's not him.
Yeah, but he pulls it off.
But he pulls it off, but not 100%.
Right,
so he's not 100% genuine because you can tell 10 minutes before he got on stage, he was hype. And then he got on stage and it's like, mask on.
Show. Yeah,
this is a show. And he's playing that. But because you can, I don't know how you can tell. You can just tell this is his character that he's trying to play. It's not like, I'm not finding the funniest now. Where if someone actually is like that, like my brother. Mm-hmm. Like my brother, he's just all the time. He's just blank and he'll just say shit that's just like straight out. Yeah. And then I find that
always been that as well.
But 100%. All his life has been like that. So when he does it, I'm laughing because that's just who he is.
Brother funny. Sometimes things he says go over my head sometimes.
Oh, 100%.
And then 10 seconds later, I'm like, I get it. I get what he's doing. I get what he said. Do you know what I mean? It will drop. The penny will drop and I'm like, right, I got you.
Bro,
I just thought you
brother's
did
a fucking dickhead. My brother thinks he's the smartest pleb on the planet. He's a twat.
Nah, he's funny, man.
But he's clever though as well. Prick. But yeah, man. So when's the
I was gonna go on to something you were saying.
Oh, go on.
I forgot what it was. It was something to do with the comedian thing. Anyway, what you were saying?
I can't remember now. You fucked me.
Sorry, man.
You fucked my flow. Now I was just gonna say, what's the like? Well, first of all, where are you at, production wise or
with the
design wise, or with the clothes and shit at the minute?
At the minute, the garments are being printed. I've just created some labels. The labels are woven. And like NFL, NBA jerseys, where they have the little information thing at the bottom of the jersey.
Yeah.
I'm going with that.
Okay.
And I feel like that's I feel like, because I've always been into sport, and the whole, I'd say the whole look of sports clothing is attractive.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to have this kind of sport detail on the bottom, just for a bit of information rather than just a plain tee. Has different dynamics to it. And then I'm having, so yeah, they're being embroidered at the minute. Hopefully they'll drop on Thursday, and then they'll get their labels put on the following week. So it's still being made.
So,
the online,
that's further than I thought, man. I thought it was just concepts at the minute.
Nah,
we're good to go. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, give me 3 weeks, and we'll have an online presence.
Fair play. Well, this podcast won't come out until after that anyway. This is going to come out longer than 3 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm backlogging a few because I got a little gap where I'm not going to be able to record a few. So we're going to be flowing. Okay. By the time this drops, we're going to be flowing. Okay. So I'll make sure all the information before I upload it, all the information's on there. Cool. We're going to be good to go.
Cool.
You're going to get sales.
Yeah.
You're going to get sales.
Yeah. The thing is, with the sales, I want people to understand the meaning more than just going for it.
Yeah.
I feel like it's be good to understand the code of ethics. Yeah,
but that's why you said you was doing your own little content as well in that spot.
That's right.
What's the talk to me about because I didn't even ask you you did 2 hours today.
Yeah.
So what's what you've been talking about?
So it's all scene. I'm going with a series and episode. S1 E1.
Yeah.
So season 1 is presence. Creating a presence, being present, and that's what scene 1 is all about.
Okay. So it's like, do you mean like online presence or just all types of presence? Being present, having an online presence.
Just the whole idea of being present.
Okay, calm.
Because have you ever seen Muji? His name's Muji. He's a guy. He's on YouTube. He's very spiritual.
Oh yeah.
He talks about being yourself, being at one, and his talks are very spiritual. And I find that sometimes people day to day get caught up in literally in the hustle and bustle, in the midst of things, and they'll get stressed out and bogged down. And if you just take a few minutes just to chill out and just be present, be in that moment, and realize there's some things that are out of your control, and just be present, I find helps.
Yeah, bro. 100%, man. Like, in terms of being present, I've got another tangent that I need to go off that you just said that just spiked something in my head that I need to remember. But in terms of being present, like, that's why I did this whole thing in the first place.
Right.
Because, like, I find it so rare in my day-to-day life that I can have a conversation in which I am 100% present. Like, I'm actually listening to what you're saying. Like, I'm not on my phone listening and typing. I'm not, there aren't 3-4 different people chatting over here while I'm trying to listen to what you're saying. I'm not at work trying to listen to you while I'm in between talking to people. Yeah. I'm not like on my lunch break. I've got like 15 minutes to talk, like say what you want to say. If you go off on a tangent, you need to get back to what the point you were trying to make is, because we haven't got time. Like, there's so many times that I wish I could get into shit and talk about stuff, and just you don't have the opportunity. And then as I was saying, like with my boy Lewis, we have this routine where we'll go, this has been going on for like a year or two now, in which we will go to the gym, we'll go to work, because obviously we used to work in the gym, so we'll go to work, we'll train after work, and then we'll go for a swim. We did fuck all swimming. We'd get in the pool and we'd just chat. We'll probably do like a length, and then while we're catching our breath, we'll just chat. Bro, we'll be in there for hours. And we're talking because it's the only time that no one's going to interrupt us. I'm in the pool, so no one's got my phone in near me. Like, there's no time frame. There's not even a clock in there, so I don't even know what time it is. And we'll just chat. And we got so much interesting conversation done, like so much motivating chat and all this stuff. And then that was when I decided, like, I need to do this. Because amount of times I was just saying to him, like, bro, we've been speaking for 3 hours. That's a podcast episode done. Like, we've just, it's just like, I don't have this opportunity to do this with anyone. And it's like, so interesting. Have that opportunity to be present in a conversation. You take so much more from it.
Definitely. And I think it's important to have those types of people around you that it's, like we were saying before we started, the connecting dots. Like, when you feel like you have a common ground with someone and you have a similar interest in certain creative outlets or just interest in general, I feel like it's very important to keep that not constant all the time, but in the flow, you know? So when I went to the barbershop, I knew that me and you could sit in the barbershop for literally like 4 hours, just chatting.
Bro, and that's the big thing as well. The perfect example that you mentioned, the barbershop, perfect example that you mentioned is because I knew you were nearly done and you were going to go, and I was going to jump in the chair. I purposely didn't ask you questions that were going to lead into a long conversation. Even though I wanted to.
Them ones are dread.
They actually are.
Because you have to kind of, you don't know what the person's doing next. You don't know if they have to make an appointment.
Bro,
so
exactly.
This whole idea of pre and present, it's few and far between that you're actually present.
Yeah,
because,
true.
Like at the barbershop, we'll use that for example. You didn't know what I was doing after. So you didn't know what to talk about because you didn't know how long I had to talk about.
I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable thinking that I've got to go, man. Like, and it's just like, it's awkward because obviously we've been boys since we were like 11, and I can go 2 years without seeing you and then bump into you and we'll talk for as long as we can talk for. But like, in that situation, barbershop's a perfect place to talk, but because it's so rare that you have the opportunity to just spend ages talking to someone, you just like, you know what, I'm not even going to ask the questions that are long-winded. I'm just going to make sure you're all right, see what you're up to, and then just...
The dread thing about that is sometimes with what they call the small talk. I fucking hate small talk. It kind of needs to be initiated because you need to say, you all right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Just that simple, you all right? It's small talk and it can be like, yeah, I'm fine. And I feel like depending on how the person responds to you, which kind of shows you where they are at.
Bro, that's true. And the thing is as well, I hate small talk and I hate people that don't understand small talk as well. So like, for example, you need to know your place. There's this bitch at work, right?
Bitch, you know.
She's not a bitch, but she is a bitch. This is the reason she's a bitch. Every time I speak to her, I don't know her. We work in different departments. So the only time that I will see her is in passing. So we just happen to be stood still at the same place. Like we might be queuing for food or we might be doing something, or I might be heating something up in the microwave. She's making a coffee and I'm just like, so when we're stuck in an awkward situation, but we're only going to be here for like 30 seconds. I'll be like, oh, you right? Her response every time, no, not really.
But you find it entertaining because you like awkwardness.
No, but I find it funny.
Yeah, funny.
In retrospect, I find it funny in retrospect, but in the position that I'm in, I know I don't have time to ask you why you're not all right. You know I don't have time to ask you why you're not all right. So why the fuck are you saying you're not all right?
You're vexed.
I'm vexed because I don't care if you're all right. I just said you're right because I'm saying you're right. I'm not even asking you, are you okay? I'm saying you're right.
Yeah.
It's just so annoying, bro. That's why I hate small talk. But
I find that like when I've delivered to a place called it's called Heat Treatments. It's one girl I delivered to. I said, "You're right." Similar situation. She goes, "Yeah, I'm all right." Yeah.
She's baiting you. She's chumming the water.
She wants me to ask more questions. Like, I want to know what's going on in your personal life. I'm not here for your personal life. Do you know what I mean? I'm not here to console you about your personal life.
Say yes and leave me.
Literally.
Say yes and leave me alone.
When they do that elongated, yeah, I'm all right. They want me to ask more questions. No, I'm not asking more questions. I'm just saying, are you all right?
But yeah, like, I think that's a case of like, know your place in terms of who you are, who we are as people as well.
Yeah.
Don't feel comfortable like...
That's what I was going to say. Some people get too comfortable too quick.
Crazy comfortable.
I don't like it.
Even like, it sounds stupid to say, but even that small little aspect of saying, yeah, I'm okay, expecting me to ask you follow-up questions, you're too comfortable. Like, you've not done anything per se, but you're already too comfortable.
Yeah. I find that happens quite a lot sometimes. People just get too comfortable too quickly.
Yeah, but then you think about their... sometimes that makes it feel like they're lonely as hell as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, desperate.
Yeah, like, for you to be so desperate for me to want to ask, like, I'm a random person in your life and you clearly want me to ask you follow-up questions, in-depth personal questions about your life, who are you missing in your life that you can't, like, unload to?
Yeah, I feel like it's okay to be lonely as long as you're humbly lonely.
Okay.
Does that make sense to you? Like
maybe.
If like, let's say old people. Some people, I like old people because they want to talk.
Yeah.
But they don't force it on you.
Yeah.
I feel like younger people kind of force it on. Yeah.
Yeah, young people corner you, bro. Yeah. Like, fuck's sake.
Yeah.
And then like, this is a perfect example of cornering. When I was on Tinder before,
right.
I
don't do Tinder.
Yeah, I don't do Tinder anymore, bro.
Okay.
When I was on Tinder before, one of my pet peeves, I pied off so many girls. I agreed to meet them, pied them all off, because when we're chatting, this bitch wants to corner me. Like, she will say like, what is it? I don't know. Or they might upload something on their story, or they might do something that is chumming the water so that I can swim in and be like, babes, what's wrong? Like, I hate when people upload a random story like, why are people such pricks? And then just leave it like that.
Right.
That hasn't made you feel any better by putting that on there. You haven't unloaded anything on there.
Negative energy.
You're chumming the water. You want a million people to ask you what's wrong and then corner them into being stuck in a situation that they don't even want to be in. But if I don't ask you what's wrong, if we're in the talking stage and you've done that, you've baited me, and I'm the one you're talking to,
and you have to. She wants you to show her that you care.
Yeah, she knows. She's got my little face in there that's seen the story. When she goes back and checks who's seen the story, it would be like my little face, and it would say like 98 people or some shit like that. Yeah. And she'll see my face and be like, "Wow, this dickhead saw that I'm in a bad place and didn't even ask me." Like, don't corner me like that. Don't put me in that situation. Let me be genuine and let me ask you.
Yeah.
I hate shit like that. And that's something, like when you said humbly alone or something like that. Like, if you want to express yourself, if you want to unload, if you want to do stuff like that, like, that's fine. But find the right person that's there to do that with. Don't corner people into forcing your negative shit in here. I don't like to hear negative shit all day.
Yeah.
And Chim, Barber, he's actually real good. He's actually real good at not unloading his negative shit on me.
He's a professional, isn't he?
He's a professional, and every single time we talk, we spoke about this a little while ago.
Hairdressers, barbers, they are professionals in social environments.
They are.
They've like got that status of they know the bullshit. They're around the bullshit, but they're also around the positive stuff. 100%. So they kind of orchestrate.
Yeah.
What's going on around them?
Bro, 100%. Every time I talk to him, he'll say, "How are you?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, man, all good." Even though I could be going through hell, I'm not going to burden him with what's going on in my life. So he'll say, "What's going on?" I'm like, "No, man, all good." And I'm like, "What are you saying?" And he'll be like, "Yeah, man, can't complain." That's Chim every time. Right. "Yeah, man, can't complain."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You definitely can complain but you
Definitely
won't.
could,
Yeah, you definitely could if you wanted to. I'm sure you've got a lot of shit going on in your life that you want to complain about, but I'm grateful that you're not burdening me with that. And we actually ended up having a conversation about it one time, in that I said to him, like, you always say can't complain, I like it. And he was like, yeah, man, because I shouldn't complain. I shouldn't be complaining, and especially of all people, I shouldn't be complaining to you.
Right.
And like, my nose is itchy, bro. Yeah, I shouldn't be complaining to you. And I'm like, I appreciate that, man, because too many people are fast to corner you and treat me like I'm your punch bag.
It's interesting though. It's interesting, like, especially like, because this whole scene thing, I feel like when I said it's about the music scene or a movie scene or whatever, to me, I feel like I am quite a deep thinker, and I feel that it also goes hand in hand with culture, as in music does influence culture.
Yeah.
And culture, as in your barbershop, that is part of the culture. Like, people that go to a barbershop, there's a huge amount of people I feel, but that I think that get their haircut every, 3 weeks maximum.
2 weeks for me, brother.
2 weeks, but we'll say 3 weeks just in case you might be busy that week.
Yeah.
Some people every week.
Oh yeah,
I
I wish I could do it every week.
Depends what kind of trim you get. I mean, if you got a pattern, a little line, you need to let that grow out a little piece.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But those kind of environments, I feel like there's not enough conversation. There's not enough things being addressed in those environments that I feel like, especially with this era, need to be expressed.
You know why as well? You know why I feel as well? I also feel that we are in a time now where it's more acceptable to disagree with someone's opinion than it is to agree with them or try to agree with. It's more acceptable to just hard face disagree than try to empathize and see someone else's point of view. And I think that actually pulls conversation to a halt. Like, for the first time, Barbershop, perfect example. I was actually in there a couple months ago, and what happened? Fuck's, I don't know why it ended up happening, and I hate the fact that happened.
No matter what you say, it's not going to surprise me, because anything goes in the
Bruh,
barbershop.
everything goes in there. We got onto the two topics that in a barbershop you just can't be asked to get onto the topic of. One was religion, especially in that fucking barbershop you don't want to get onto. And the second one was education, innit?
Okay.
Basically,
I thought you say football, but okay.
I ain't got time to argue about football. Fam. There's better, more important things in life to be arguing than fucking football.
Okay.
But no, these were deep conversations.
Okay.
And then basically, I was tired of homosexuality is how it got onto the topic. So actually,
that's a touchy subject in the
religion, homosexuality, and education all piled into one conversation whilst I'm getting my hair cut. Bruv. But I was trying my best to empathize.
That sounds like a long trim.
Bro. It started when I was in the seat as well, so it's not even like I could get involved, see two people get the haircut, then get my haircut, and then no, it was whilst I was in the seat, and you could tell because he wanted to get his point across so bad, he's slowing down on the fade, innit? Because I'm just, bro. Anyway, so it started off with something on the news that we were watching, and we were talking about something to do with like a transgender movement or something like that, and he was trying to say like, the media will promote trans or gay or anything like that more than it will promote conventional marriage.
Right.
And I was trying to say, yeah. Because conventional marriage is boring.
Yeah.
From a media perspective.
It's been boring, yeah.
Yeah. Why the who's going to read?
It's the norm.
Yeah. Who's going to read about this couple got married conventionally yesterday? Yeah. Traditional marriage in a Catholic church. Well done, Sarah and Jim. Like, no one gives a fuck. So yes, they're going to promote transgender because it's a sketchy subject. Still, it's an interesting subject still. So basically, he tried to go onto the topic about how, long story short, the schools are influencing it too much. They're promoting it too much. They shouldn't be allowed to educate people about homosexuality and transgender. They're convincing them that it's okay to do these things.
I'd agree.
You think?
I feel like people are more acceptable to it now.
But do you think that's an issue?
It's not an issue, no.
That's the thing. That's what he was trying to say. And I agree with the fact that schools are trying to make it seem more acceptable. But I think that's a good thing. Whereas he said that's a bad thing. He thinks because obviously
he's Muslim.
He's a Muslim, so like I don't want to offend any Muslim people that are listening to me talk, but it's obviously just my opinion. Is that in Muslim culture, or at least in here, I can't speak for Muslims. In his opinion,
that's understood.
It's a choice. Being gay or all these things are a choice.
Yeah.
And I try not to speak for ages because I was like, I just don't want to get
Hold
into
your
this.
tongue.
Yeah, I was just like,
It's hard sometimes.
This is gonna take hours, bro. I don't want to get into this.
Yeah.
And then it got to the point where I was like, all right, fuck this, man. I'm gonna have to say something in it because it's I don't know why. I usually don't get riled up by people's opinions, but I don't like hearing people that I don't feel like know all the facts and are talking more from what they think they know than what they actually know. And if I can hear them spewing references, obviously, because when people want to back up their point, they're going to use references. Right. So reference this, reference that, reference that. And if they're going to use references that I know for a fact are untrue, then I'm going to have to step in.
Yeah.
Now I can't just let that lie.
It's almost like, well, I feel like with religion it's different though.
Okay.
With religion, because obviously with religion, your beliefs are literally from a book. You know, where it literally says in black and white, this is wrong.
Yeah.
And anything that goes against what the book says is going to be wrong. So you're not going to convince him otherwise.
I don't want to convince him. I want him to be empathetic to other people's opinions. So like what you've just done, you've empathized with a Muslim person having those opinions.
I try to empathize with as much people as I can.
Exactly. So what you've done is a mature way to have a debate or a conversation. Yeah. You say your points of view. They say their points of view. You empathize with them if you can. Sometimes you just can't. Because some people are just dumb. But on the rare occasion that you can't, most times you should be able to empathize where they're coming from. If they've made themselves clear enough, they should be able to express themselves enough so that you can empathize. And then you can choose to agree with them, change your mind and be on their side, or you can say, okay, I understand where you're coming from, but I completely disagree. And then you guys can leave it amicably from there. And hopefully they can empathize with you. In that situation, there was no such thing. It was very much him being on the stance of my foot's down. This is wrong. I don't want to hear anyone that thinks it's not wrong is stupid. And they're like going to hell, basically. And that's why I don't like getting into religious topics with religious people. Okay. Because they are, like you said, there's no grey areas. It's a standpoint. This is right and you're wrong. That's right, and we're never going to have a mature conversation about that. Yeah. And I think that's what riled me up because I thought, this is not a conversation we're having here. You want me to just agree with you. And you're asking me, like, obviously I don't want to speak, but he's like, in it, James, this is wrong because of this. In it, James. And I'm like, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie and say, yeah, when that's not how I feel. Yeah. And I was trying to say to him, I feel the use of belief is used to religion. So when you're talking about religion and stuff like that, and this is what I believe is true, I think the term belief should be open to, if that's how you truly believe, and if you truly have faith in Islam or Christianity or something like that, you shouldn't be afraid of putting that under some stress. If you truly believe in something,
that's your truth.
If that's your truth, then you shouldn't be adverse to putting that under some strain. So he would rather, for example, he's talking about his son, and he can raise his son how he wants. And he was saying he doesn't want schools even mentioning gay people, mentioning trans people, because he thinks if his son is surrounded by it or educated about it, then he might be more inclined to choose that path. And he wants to dedicate his path to this because this is the path of Islam and stuff like that. And what I was trying to say to him is that if you've raised your son as a Muslim and he truly believes in Islam and he's old enough to understand the rules and regulations of being a Muslim, then it shouldn't matter if someone's telling him about it because he truly believes that Islam is the way to go. Yeah. And it wouldn't matter what anyone else says because he truly believes that is wrong. If he truly believes that homosexuality is wrong, then you shouldn't have any issue with the education about it. Yeah. And he was trying to say, nah, because then he might choose. And then I'm like, no offense, then he doesn't believe in Islam then, does he?
The thing is, you can argue the point of let's say you believe in God. You believe in Jesus or any kind of deity, You don't want your child to be in a school where they do devil worshipping.
That's true.
You know, so I find that with certain religions, being gay is part of the evilness within that environment.
That's true.
So that's how they see it. So he doesn't want his son being around evil, basically, what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's true. But he's also the one that chose to send him to that school. He didn't send him to a Muslim school. He sent him to a public school.
Yeah,
and that's just the dice you roll.
Yeah.
Like, you can make that argument, which is fine, but you sent him to that school. And you're not willing to homeschool him. So what are we arguing about? That was the point I was trying to make as well. Because he was like, oh, you wouldn't see that in a Christian school. They don't talk about that. And I'm like, yeah, because they sent him to a Christian school. But you didn't send your son to a Christian school or a Muslim school or something like that. You sent him to a standard public school,
right,
where the beliefs in that school have that system, and you knew that when you signed him up to it.
Yeah.
So
I think that's like when you like having a kid, even sending them to a certain school or even just letting them out into the world. I don't think it's right to completely bubble wrap the person no matter where they go. You need to let them be open to the world.
Well, this is the thing I was trying to say to him, because he was talking about brainwash. That's how we got into the topic of education. He said education is a form of brainwashing. And I was like, okay, you need to tell me this. And then he was like, he was trying to say that by the fact that they're educating people about homosexuality, being transgender, anything like that is a form of brainwashing. And I was trying to say, no offense, brother, but I think you denying people an education is more brainwashing than telling them the whole story. I said, as long as they're not outright telling your son you should be gay, then they're not brainwashing him. They're just saying there are gay people, there are lesbian people, there are bisexual people, there are transgender people, and this is the world we live in, and all these people exist. But if you're saying you don't want him to know gay people exist, you don't want him to know this, you don't want him to know that, you only want him to know the teachings of Islam, anything that's evil, you don't want him exposed to, you want him here, in my opinion, that's more of a form of brainwashing.
Yeah, it's not
because he doesn't know anything.
Yeah, it's not
because you've brainwashed him to only know what you want him to know. That's more brainwashing than giving him an entire education about the world. Because the fact is, whether you teach him about it or not, it exists. He's gonna meet a gay dude in his life, 100%. Unless you lock him in the basement for the rest of his life.
That's brainwash. Yeah,
we're talking brainwashing here. But obviously, he didn't see my point of view, and that's why it ended up being like a 2-hour conversation about nothing. And you don't want to get into touchy subjects, and I don't even know how we got into this topic, but.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I feel like conversations we were talking about a barber orchestrating.
That's what I was trying to say. I was trying to say is basically, sorry, to get back to my point I was actually trying to make in the first place, is the point I was trying to make is that I feel we live in a society where it's too easy to be like, nope, wrong. You're wrong. I'm not listening to this. And that's why people are less inclined to give their true opinions about something of a fear of being ganged up on. If you're in a public area like a barbershop, I was the only one defending myself in that whole situation. This was me and 4 Muslim brothers and a couple silent people in the back. So I'm the only one that's got this opinion, and everyone else is trying to tell me no. And that's like an intimidating situation to be in if you don't feel comfortable in that situation. And I feel like we live in a time now where it's very easy and it's almost encouraged that if you have a stern opinion, you fight off anyone who doesn't have that opinion. Yeah. If we're on different teams, if we have different opinions, we're on different teams. So it's about me either convincing you or telling you to shut up. Like, this is a wall and you're not penetrating it. Whereas I would rather be like, okay, cool, let's everyone dish it out. Like, I want to hear someone in the back be like, well, actually, I disagree with both of you because of this, this, and this, and this. And I want to hear another people be like, yeah, actually, I know I agree with half of what you said, but I actually will agree with this bit of what you said. Yeah. I hate when people are so team-based. And even if they're in the back of their mind, if they're on the blue team and the red team's over here, even if they agree, they might disagree with 99% of what the red team wants, but they might agree with 1%. They'll never say it. Yeah. They'll never admit
They don't want to become that middle grey area.
No one wants to be in a grey area, man. They want to be part of the team.
Purple. They don't want to be the purple.
No one wants to be purple, bro. They want to be red or blue.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. But I feel like people should be more okay with being individual. Being that individual who has the same opinion as this person, but also agrees with the opposite side. You know, and that's why I try and empathise with both sides. But I agree with you. When people are part of a culture, part of a religious group, it's difficult to open their mind because they're already structured in that format.
Yeah, bro, 100%. It's tough, man. I didn't want to get into that conversation. I knew it wasn't going to end well. But boy, yeah, it's mad.
But I keep it light with him, though.
Oh, bro, that's the only time I've been getting my haircut since I was like 14, 15. Yeah. That's the only time we've ever got into a deep conversation like that.
That's deep.
And that's probably the last time we'll ever get into a conversation like
definitely. That's why I always keep it light with Jim. Whenever I speak to him about going gym. I say, look, are you still going gym? because you don't look like you've been going gym. You need to go gym.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just light-hearted conversations like that.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
plus,
yeah.
obviously, if he's your barber, you want him to give you a nice trim.
Bro, if you
So
fucks up my hair, they'll
you
fuck up
keep
your
him
shop.
nice.
Yeah, everyone wants to keep everyone happy.
He'll
at
never
the
do
end of
you
the day.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
you want to keep him as nice as possible.
Yeah. Was it angle this thing up a little bit? If you can. That's it. Yeah. That's much better. But bruv, it's mad. I was gonna say something. I was actually gonna say something that you mentioned
I remember
earlier.
the thing we just said about the comedian thing now.
Oh, what was it?
I feel like with comedians, it's their form of expression.
100%.
Do you know what I mean? So in the sense that they're expressing themselves, and people that are naturally funny will make you laugh. Person that's naturally funny doesn't have to say much.
Oh, bro, yeah.
Minimal could be said, but because of their presence and them just being themselves, expressing themselves, just makes them automatically in that funny category.
Yeah, man. I 100% agree, and like a lot of the people that I respect the most
In comedy
and in life, the reason they're funny is because, like I said earlier, they're so authentic.
Yeah.
And that is just like a true expression of their personality.
Yeah.
Like when I watched the Dave Chappelle thing the other day, like he says some shit on there that he could go to jail for, but he's willing to say it.
Do you agree with that
that's,
though? Do you agree? Some people think comedians shouldn't say certain topics or shouldn't talk about certain things.
I think everyone should say whatever
no
they
rules.
want to say. I think
Anything goes.
I think there are places in which anything doesn't go, but if you can choose to be in that situation, if I chose to put, I agree in that if someone decides to listen to this, our conversation now, they've chosen, they have the ability to turn us off.
They can press back. Next,
they can skip us, they can cancel us, they can do whatever they want. So they don't have a right to tell me what I can and can't say. And I feel that's the same with comedians. You chose to either be there live, or I chose to put it on a Netflix the other day. So I'm in their zone now. I've put myself
in their world.
So I don't have a right to dictate what they're going to say in their world, because I have every right to turn it off. If I don't like it, I can turn it off. It's fine. Now, there are situations in which you need to shut your mouth, where you're, excuse me, where you're stuck in an office with someone and they sit on the desk next to you and they want to give their controversial opinions and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't have a choice but to listen to the shit that's coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to put me in that position. I don't want to put anyone in a position where they have no choice but to listen to what I want to say. Then you should keep it mellow. You need to keep it.
That's why I feel with
vanilla.
like with technology nowadays, because we can flick onto whatever we want, type in whatever we want, and get the information whatever we want, like that. When we're in social environments with people, we can, where we often, if someone says something we don't like, it's almost like we switch them off.
Oh yeah.
We close them down.
Yeah.
And I find sometimes it helps, but it's the world we live in.
It's true, man. You just,
like, if me and you are
cut someone
talking,
off.
say if me and you met up somewhere, some guy comes up, we kind of know him, don't really know, and he starts talking about what he wants to talk about. In my head, I'm thinking, close him down, close that window, press the X, close him down, because I'm trying to talk to you.
Yeah. And I'll give you like a little, like I'll probably kick your shoe or something like that. And that's the
look,
sign where
like,
you
roll your eyes,
do a quick side like, oh wow. Or use like a little code word like,
Is it? Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, for real.
The thing is as well, I'm bad. My body language is bad in those
You
situations.
give it off too easily.
I give it off so easily. How I haven't been
To
punched.
fight it, you shouldn't have to fight it though, really.
True, that's true. I shouldn't have to. People need to be more self-aware, man.
Slightly barbaric.
Yeah.
It, but
People need to be more self-aware in the situations that they're in, man. Like, I don't understand when
people are unaware sometimes.
I don't understand that.
People just like, I feel like social environments, sometimes people don't understand cues.
Bro, when people don't understand social cues, you know what I hate? People that come in your personal space.
Too close.
Nose talkers. You know when they're there.
I don't get them really.
You don't get them. Bro,
I keep my space, I keep my distance.
Yeah. I keep my distance. People, like, when I'm, like, I'll be sat at my desk sometimes when I'm just typing away, and there's a couple women in my office, and they'll be like, James, and I'll turn, and they're literally here, and they're like, yeah. If I can feel the vibrations of your throat, like in my skull, you're way too close. And you know, I just want to like arch back like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you not understand this is a social cue? How do you not understand that there's a unspoken distance that you need to speak to me from?
Yeah.
As long as I can hear you clearly, we're cool.
You know what I don't like? When people are in a bad mood and you can tell they're in a bad mood straight away, and then they treat you like shit.
Don't ever let me know that you're in a bad mood, man.
And when
That's bad manners.
But when they treat you like shit,
bro,
because they're in a bad mood,
and they're just like, sorry, I'm having a bad day. That's your business.
yeah, I didn't do nothing to you.
Yeah, bro, that's literally your business. And you're like, oh, sorry, I'm having a shit day. That's your problem. You know, when like, there's certain people that you know that when they're in a bad mood, you automatically just like, oh, for fuck's sake.
Don't you find it not to be sexist?
Okay.
Not to be sexist.
Yeah.
But I find the female gender do that quite a lot.
Yeah.
Men, if men to men, man to man, they're not going to push a bad mood on you straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas a woman with their emotions, I feel do it more.
I know where you're coming from for sure. I know where you're coming from. I also feel like it's different in different situations. So like, how do I explain it? I feel like men who have authoritative positions are more inclined to do it more. They want to push their weight when they're in a bad mood. They feel like they can push their weight around and they feel comfortable. Men are more aware that they're doing it and they don't give a shit if they're in an authoritative position. Whereas I feel like women in authoritative positions aren't as bad. Whereas
Linda,
big man, don't talk to me about Linda. Linda was the worst boss I've ever had.
same to this day.
I hope she hears it. I hope she hears it. Bruv, Linda was cold, man.
Nah, she'll come for us. She best like edit this out.
I don't give a shit. Let her come, man. I actually saw her sister in the shop down the road the other day.
This is cool.
Yeah, sister's blessed.
Yeah.
But bruh, Linda used to make my life hell on purpose. And I never knew whether she was a good mood or bad mood.
Can't tell.
But she used to literally make my life hell on purpose. But yeah, as I was saying, like, yeah, I do feel what you're saying in terms of women are a little bit more like that, in that they'll just happily
Rude
push
for no
their
reason.
bad shit onto you, innit?
Rude for no reason.
Misery loves company, as they say. They want you to be miserable.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was this thing that you said earlier that made me think, and I said I want to remember it and come back to it. That was like an hour ago.
Right.
But what was it? You said about being yourself.
Okay.
So we were talking about, I can't remember what the fuck we were talking about.
Being present.
And you were talking about being yourself as well. And you were talking about the geezer that you like on YouTube. Yeah, my man. About talking about being present and being yourself. And I actually find the whole concept of being yourself like a very tricky topic sometimes, in that, have you ever felt like that like you don't know what being yourself means? Like, I'll give you an example. For example, like, there was a time, well, like, basically everyone has a picture, an image of kind of what you are. So excluding Instagram or whatever, when they know you, they're your friend, they kind of have an image of that's who you are. So if you're like the outgoing, like gregarious, funny character, confident and all that stuff, it's very easy to convince yourself that you're that person, because if the words that someone would use to describe you aren't necessarily the words that you'd use to describe yourself.
Yeah.
But you are so aware of that's the personality that people have projected onto you because of times you've been like that, that sometimes you actually think, like, when you don't feel that way, if there's a week or a day or an hour that you don't feel confident, you don't feel outgoing, you don't feel like boisterous and all that stuff, you think like, what am I actually like? You know what I mean? Do I act like that because people want me to act like that, or do I act like that because that's genuinely who I am?
That's interesting, because one thing that like Muji addresses is like emotions are like clouds. What phrase that he said, one of his, like, he paraphrased, in a sense that you don't always, if you're angry at a certain time, you're not always going to be angry. It's just a cloud that you're going through, and it will pass like clouds.
Yeah.
So if you're feeling confident, that may be just a massive cloud you have. Because some people, especially being younger, people used to think I was confident, and what you'll see is through growing up in certain environments, you'll see people that were like hugely confident younger. As they get older, they get less confident. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
And you can tell just by looking at them how they're carrying themselves. They're less confident than what they were.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's constant evolving of yourself.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? You're always changing. You're always adapting to certain environments.
That's very true.
But I feel like the core remains the same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like your core values. Yeah.
The core, like you said, your core values don't change really.
Well, that's the thing, because like I am, for example, like this format, like this podcast thing that I wanted to do, and when I wanted to do YouTube stuff and stuff like that, or I wanted to have an outlet for creative expression and stuff like that. To me, that feels very me. But if someone was to have like a snapshot of like my life, or someone who's known me from like a third party or something like that, they might be thinking, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So like when we spoke about Kojo earlier and how he started his thing, that's Kojo. That's just him.
That's been Kojo.
So that's been Kojo. So like when someone, if like, yeah, after knowing him for 5 minutes, if someone comes up to you like, oh, this guy has a YouTube channel, he's like very eccentric, dances loud, expressive.
He does
like,
it on and off camera.
Yes, him. That's just him. Whereas me, I'm very much like growing up and now like I don't really like social situations very much. I don't like meeting people very much at all. I'm not very outgoing and confident and stuff like that. So for me to say like, I want to start a podcast or put myself, I want to post this and let everyone have an insight to what I'm actually like. Someone might be like, why? That's not you.
It's your comfort, isn't it? I feel like you'll find huge comfort in it.
And I do, and I enjoy it, and it's all I think about. It's all I want to do. But then like, I also think, when you say back to core values, when I was a kid, when I was, obviously, I've been very sporty, right, and I've done lots of individual sports as well, which is like a format of kind of like self-expression, I guess, if you will, and also putting yourself in an environment where the spotlight's on you. I've done quite well. But also, when I was a kid, I feel like I had an aspect of, when we did, when you do stupid like school plays and shit like that, like I had an aspect of that in which was 100% me. And I would always be like the guy to pick for the school play. And I would always want to play like a funny character. And I'd always want to be the outgoing guy.
Yeah, you've always been a happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, exactly. I've always been a positive, happy guy. And I enjoy that. And then like a core value of mine that sometimes I've forgotten about when I'm not thinking about creative shit.
Right.
I often have that people often know me as a guy that is athletic and chatty when you get to know me, but when you meet me, like I probably won't talk to you.
Yeah.
And like it's about like, yeah, you can have, as you grow older or mood you're in, you can have different either clouds, or you have aspects about your personality that might change or evolve or get lower, get more confident, less confident, stuff like that. But you always do have certain core values, and it's only when you touch on those core values in later life, you think back to the times where you were actually like that, when you might surprise yourself initially and be like, I don't think that's me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the kind of phase I feel like I'm going through at the minute.
Okay.
Well, I'm going back to core value times, whereas I've spent a lot of my life being, I don't know, just not someone that I'm not, but falling into a place. Like, when you...
I feel like with you, you've always had this thing of talking about things in depth.
Yeah,
you like,
bro, I like
the minute things that you pick up on, like you say, social cues or different environments that you pick up on. And I see them sometimes as well, that you like to express, you like to talk about. I feel like when you have that common interest and you can reach that understanding with somebody, it just, next time you're in that environment, you're like, it's one of them.
Yeah.
I'm in just one of them again. Which I think helps, because if you feel like you're the only one that understands it, it's like stress.
Yeah.
But when you understand that other people go through that as well,
yeah,
it's just so much easier to deal with.
Yeah, bro, 100%, man. I agree with you, man. It's crazy. And like, what was I going to say? There's another thing I was going to say. Shit. I can't even remember.
Don't worry about it.
But that's cool, man.
It is what it is.
Bro, we might have to wrap this up because I think my camera's about to die.
Cool, man.
But yeah, clothing brand Scene. Scene. So yeah, what's it? When this drops, I'll make sure it's all over the gaff.
Whenever, man.
Send me some shit, please.
Will do.
I want to wear that. Oh, cool, man.